Yes, sir. The Faison View podcast, man. Episode 340. Let's get right into it. As you already know your host. Alright. At the Faison View podcast, man. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys for the support. Alright. Let's get it, man. We got much on the agenda today. Man. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Yes, sir. Alright. We're going to get right into it, man. Celebrating 50 years of hip-hop, man. 50 years of hip-hop. When you think about it, it's really, honestly, it feels like a lot of time, but that's not really a lot of time. And really, it's a huge win. Huge win for the culture, huge win for hip-hop in general, lasting 50 years. And now we in a space that hip-hop is now the #1 genre. So you go all the way back from Kool Herc. You go back into DJ, what's it called? Go into all the different type of DJs. Alright, DJ Flash, you go to Kid Capri, then you go into a whole nother era, you go into LL, then you go into Jay-Z. It's so many people, Rakim, Nas, I'll be naming forever. But in just some realms of hip-hop, man, it's just monumental. So, celebrating hip-hop, they had a huge show out in New York, man. Everybody pulled up, alright? So, from the South to the North, of course, to the West, they had Snoop out there, they had Wayne out there, they had Cube out there, Lauryn Hill out there made a very surprise appearance right there. Just touching so many bases of hip hop, man, and it's really just a testament to the culture, man, and really keeping hip hop alive. Right, and a lot of people say now because of the different era hip hop is there, but I feel like what we need to realize is that every stage of hip hop was frowned upon at one point in time. Like when you had the first hip hop, the hippity hip hop, you don't stop. Before that even came out, and while it was still there, a lot of people looked at it as like it was more so disco. And then also when it got into more of the 80s, where you have your Ice-T, NWA, it became a little bit more what it is, like such as like, you know, kind of I wouldn't say gang related, but like gangster rap. You had so many different facets of it, because you got the true essence of hip hop and how it started. It started a certain way, and then as time went on, everything started to change. So I feel like hip hop is alive, and you got a lot of great artists that's keeping hip hop alive present day, and that still has, such as like the J. Cole's, the Kendricks. You got a lot of people such as Griselda, of course, Drake. You have so many different facets of hip hop, and you know we do have the melodic rap. You do have, but if it wasn't for Wayne, we wouldn't have that type of genre of music. You wouldn't have your Thugs, you wouldn't have your Future, you wouldn't have your Uzis. So hip hop just comes such a long way. You feel me? Like I can name so many people that has an influence in my life as far as hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like I love Jadakiss to Wu-Tang. You know what I'm saying? It's so many different realms, and I just feel like it was definitely appropriate for them to have a huge show, a monumental show that represents hip-hop in the right way. And you know, you had Uncle Luke, who is a huge movement, especially in Florida and where he's from, but just a huge movement in general. And what he did, he spoke to, you know, him not being there to perform, or they not representing Florida. And I understand what he's saying, because you have a lot of Florida acts, from Trick Daddy to Trina to Kodak, even to more present day. And then, like I said previously, before you got Uncle Luke, you have so many different Florida artists that were impactful to hip hop in general. But I understand how it's so much. But in an 8-hour show, I understand it. That was an 8-hour show representing hip hop all 50 years. So I do feel like they should have been included. I understand that you're gonna miss certain people, but that, yeah, Florida and down south was just monumental to hip hop, and I feel like it's getting way more credit since the 2000s. But before the 2000s, it was really, hip hop was really just known as a New York type of sport, and to see how it branched off into what it is now is amazing. So you have representation from everywhere in America, and you got a lot of representations out of America. You got a lot of great artists that's not in America that represent hip hop in a very special way. So man, I just want to say shout out to hip hop, man, for real, because it cultivated who I am as a person, for sure. Like it cultivated everything. Cultivated life for me, especially growing up and what I listened to. You know, when I was growing up, I had a lot of Ja Rule, I had a lot of Nelly, it was a lot of 50 Cent, it was the Wayne, T.I., Jeezy era. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the 2000s. I'm a 95 baby, but I grew up in the 2000s. Then having an understanding of what Biggie and Tupac and Nas and Jay-Z and those did, and DMX. There's so much more to name, but it's just beautiful to see how far hip hop has come. And like I said, even though that we speculate, we debate all the time if hip hop is dead or alive, it's very much so alive. It very much so is, because you got a lot of these acts out here that may not get all the credit, but they're still out here representing what hip hop really is. All right. So speaking of hip hop, all right, I didn't want to segue into this very unfortunate events, but let's talk about it. Tory Lanez sentenced to 10 years in jail from the Meg Thee Stallion shooting and case. All right, and my thoughts on it initially. Let me just get it. Let me just get everything and set it out on the table. I feel like we're in this situation. It made us look bad as a whole, as a culture in this, because you got one side that's just strictly just for Meg, and you got one side that's just strictly for Tory. But I feel like we need to all have an understanding of we need to protect each other at all costs. And in my opinion, do I feel like the 10 years were excessive? Yeah, but also you have to hold yourself accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how I feel about the case, Tory Lanez, if I'm being honest, during the trial, during the case, you know, he had a lot of incidents was going on, and he wasn't being discreet. You know, I understand that the truth we really don't know. None of us was there to have an understanding of what actually happened. We got all different type of stories. You have a lot of people that lie. But at the end of the day, Meg is a victim. She was hurt. So that's not something we can just overlook. All right, and I do feel like it needs to be accountability on all parties, from Tory to Meg to Kelsey to the security guard to the whole situation going down. Everybody had a part in it. But also, and being fair and understanding, having the knowledge of what the actual charges are. All right, in regards to the finding the gun, who gun was it, the residue, it all boils down, and it all adds up that somebody did it. And no matter if we feel like it was Tory or feel like it was Kelsey, Meg is the victim. She was hurt. So I'm not in this in that type of category as far as like, okay, where I'm just victim shaming. I don't want to do that, because I just feel like in this whole situation, but it's long drawn out for 3 years, something was going to happen out of it, whether he was guilty or not guilty. Do I feel like 10 years is excessive? Possibly, but once I heard the range in which they were trying to charge him, it makes sense. They said 9 to 22, like, and I feel like he's not going to serve the whole 10. And this gives him a chance to sit down and just think about the whole situation, because it is some things that he could have done better in that situation. It's some things that Kelsey and Meg could have done better in that situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to go on either side. I'm just really just speaking on my piece, my opinion about the situation. It should never had to happen like that at all. And we could speculate about conspiracies. We could talk about record labels. We could talk about the industry workings. We could talk about all that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is right now. Unfortunately, it is what it is. You don't want to see a black man in jail, and you don't want to see a black woman hurt. So at the end of the day, we as a culture should stop going back and forth about this whole situation, because it's only causing more commotion. It's only causing more commotion for the people that are just so far, on Meg Thee Stallion and really celebrated Tory going to jail. And you got people that on Tory's side that just is going to show hate for Meg. So it's still in a place where this story is, even though it's to rest and he's been sentenced, it's still going to go on with the drama. Like, that's what I said. So I just feel like for me to say it's excessive or not, it really doesn't matter. For real, what happened. We can say all day he didn't do it. We can say Kelsey pleaded immunity. We can go through all the social media lawyer type of conversations, but it is what it is now. It is what it is now. I just wish that it didn't happen, but unfortunately it did. And everything happens for a reason. You feel me? Everything's happened for a reason. So I just want to say prayers and condolences to everybody in this situation, because this has been going on for 3 years now. You know, pray that she got peace, and pray that he keeps his head up and keeps moving forward for real. And God willingly, this is not the end, for sure. So I just wanted to touch bases on that. I didn't want to really dive into that because you have so many people, you know, Instagram and social media lawyers trying to debate what happened, It is what it is now. It is what it is. So you let me know your thoughts on that. Tory Lanez sentenced to 10 years in jail from the Megan Thee Stallion shooting in case. All right, so you just let me know your thoughts, what you think about it. But that's my opinion on it. All right, and big win for the UPS, man. UPS union got a huge win. UPS full-time employers are now able to make up to 6 figures. All right, $49 an hour. All right, for full-time and part-time employee, $21 an hour. UPS has reached a tentative contract with its 340,000 person union, potentially overting a strike that threatened to disrupt package deliveries for millions. And that just goes to show you how important certain jobs are that should be getting paid 6 figures in general. These jobs, such as the UPS workers, that's getting our package delivered all day in and day out, to teachers, to lawyers, to doctors, to it's so many people that really run the world that really don't get paid their just due and get paid what they're worth. Because this is a huge win, but you know what I'm saying, why hasn't this been? And I understand a union causing strike for this to actually happen, because if without UPS, you got millions of people that are looking for their packages, looking for their items, whatever it may be. They are very important. Even to the trash and garbage truck drivers, they are very important to society in general. Just imagine, we don't have anybody to take our trash. We don't have certain trash chutes. Like, the little things very much so matter in society, in the society that we live in America, as American. Like I just said, such as teachers. These are the everyday workers that have a lot of influence on how society moves and operates. So, huge win for the UPS, man. I might give me a part-time, because you think about that, that's now $49 an hour. Now they making 100 plus. 100 plus. I ain't mad at it, for sure. I ain't mad at it. And then part-time employee, $21 an hour. I'll take it, man. I'll definitely take it. Have an understanding of how important these jobs are. You know what I'm saying? These jobs are very much so important for us moving in a certain direction in society. Because imagine if millions don't have their packages. Imagine if you don't have teachers to teach our kids and teach our students. You know what I'm saying? Imagine we don't have doctors and nurses to take care of us. You know what I'm saying? It may, and I feel like we take that for granted, especially here in America. We take a lot of the things that we have, a lot of these employees and workers that really shape society, we take it for granted, because once they're gone, and once something happens, such as like this, a union, you see where things go. And then even in like what we watch and entertainment wise, you have the strike that's going on with the writers and actors. Like I was just complaining about how I don't really have too much good of TV to watch. Yes, it shows out for sure. I got a good amount of shows that I can watch, but it's just like having an understanding of how important they are. You know, so everybody plays a part. Everybody plays a part. So I'm just really happy that they stood for something and they got it. Because look here, imagine UPS workers be like, look, I'm good. I don't want to work. Y'all got it. So we'll be in shambles over here. We'll be in shambles. I already be, when I order something, I be checking my phone every single day, every single hour, waiting for my package to come. Imagine just you never see your package and you put your hard-earned money out to order something and nobody's there to deliver it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to them, man. 100K a year, man. They can earn up to 6 figures. I feel well deserved. Well deserved. And I feel like a lot of other professions I named need to follow suit on occupations, to be honest with you. You feel me? Because, like I said, society doesn't run the correct way without them. Without these major people, you know what I'm saying? You have athletes, and rightfully so. I've seen them getting outrageous contracts. They earn that. But also, I feel like these people that not saying made them who they were, but you have a lot of people that are parents. You have a lot of people that are teachers that shape these athletes to who they are. As people, just to begin with, like such as teachers. You have to learn from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? So, and just want to say, man, congratulations, man. Congratulations, because that union fought and they got what they deserve, man. 6 figures, man. UPS for the big W. All right? All right. Let's see. All right. What's an opinion about parenting that most wouldn't agree with? Okay. I'll repeat that. This is the question of the day. What's an opinion about parenting that most wouldn't agree with? I feel like an opinion about parenting that most wouldn't agree with is that one of the main ones is that in hindsight, your kids don't really owe you anything. I'm saying like you chose to have them, throwing in their face a lot of the times what you do for them, you know, buy your clothes, feed you, have an understanding of that. I feel like just in our community, just especially in my household, I love my parents to death, and principle, morals, and respect is major. But at the end of the day, in hindsight, they've always stepped out their way to do for me. And I'm not saying that I don't owe them anything. I don't owe them anything. I don't feel like that. I feel like I owe them the world. But I understand where a lot of people butt heads with their parents in their certain regards. And another thing I would say is that the family that you create is more important than the family you come from in a lot of instances. Those are two main, I feel like, main opinions about parenting that people won't agree with. Like that's just how I feel. I feel like a lot of people don't have an understanding of that. And a lot of people do. And is it true or false? Is it true or false is that the family you create is more important than the family you come from? I do, because it's hand in hand, but the family that you come from gives you really kind of a sense of how you want your family. Even if, say for instance, that you didn't have a good family, you didn't have a good household, you didn't have certain things growing up. So that in a lot of cases drives people to make sure that their kids have everything, and it shapes their lives. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the next generation. So I do feel like the family you create is more important, but I feel like it's very important too the family you come from, based on the morals and principles and things that you have grown up off of. And that could be in a negative way too, because you have a lot of people that keep that hurt as far as kids, or where they come from, or how their family operates. You know, that channel that hurt and put that onto their family, their kids. But I feel like it's all in its workings. I feel like like the family that you create becomes more important because it's the next generation. It's the next generation. It's what you are cultivating as a parent, for real. Like like I just said, whether if you had a good upbringing or not, that is very much so going to be depicted on who you are in your new family, and within the family you create. So it goes hand in hand, because the family you come from can be so important, because it's shaping who you're going to be, and it's going to shape how you parent and how you operate. But I do feel like it's just more important now in hindsight as you get older. The family you create is going to be more important because now you are the captain of the ship, technically. Now you have to cultivate and build morals and build certain principles onto your kids and to hold another lineage, because now that once you teach them, then they can teach on to their kids, you know. And like I said, that can go into a positive or a negative. All right, so those are my two things. I feel like what's an opinion about parenting that most wouldn't agree with? One, I feel like a lot of people won't agree with your kids don't owe you anything. And I feel like a lot of people maybe won't agree that the family you create is more important than the family you come from. I feel like that really goes hand in hand. That's a tough question, and it's a tough opinion to have. But I do feel like the family you create essentially is going to be more important than the family you come from. But it goes hand in hand because the family you come from is going to shape and mold the family that you create. So that's tough. That's tough. All right. Moving forward. Start, bench, cut, man. A new segment. Start, bench, cut. All right. First, we got for your music lovers. All right. Dat Piff, Apple Music, or Spotify. Start, bench, cut. Start, bench, cut. This is tough. I'm going to say one, Apple Music. I give it a slight edge over Dat Piff. I will bench Dat Piff and I will cut Spotify. I'm not really a heavy Spotify listener, but I am Apple Music. I listen to Apple Music all the time. But I will bench. I was debating benching and starting Dat Piff because Dat Piff was what I grew up on. The mixtapes, the mixtape era for me, and as far as like technology really going to another place, starting to go to another place. The LimeWire and that Piff days. I couldn't wait until hear the Lil Wayne drop from No Ceilings, or Meek Mill Dream Chasers, or Fabulous Soul tapes. You know what I'm saying? So like the anticipation for a Dat Piff release and mixtape was crazy. And like especially like for Wayne dedications and certain music, because he broke the internet a lot of times. He broke the internet. And I feel like, you know, Dat Piff gave me like a true essence of hip hop too as well. Like even how the page is constructed. Like I would just say Apple Music for a start is because that's what I listen to more now, and it's kind of easier and more accessible as well. Because Dat Piff, if you like use on your computer and your computer just malfunction, you'll have to wait for a minute. Apple Music, I just get any album right off. You know what I'm saying? Right off of Apple Music, you pay a subscription. It's kind of simpler. But Dat Piff, I feel like just the nostalgia of Dat Piff is the reason why I would put that in my top two as far as start and bench. All right. Next one, start, bench, cut, text, phone call, or FaceTime. This is tough. I never I mean when I was little, I used to like, when I was in elementary and middle school, I used to like being on the phone because we didn't have really like the phones we have now. And it was more so you being on the house phone. It was kind of like a genuine experience. It was just a genuine experience with like communication, a certain level of communication. And it's really nostalgic now because you have touchscreen iPhones, iPads, computers. Technology is different. But for me, I'm going to say, because I'm a texter too, I'm going to say start. That's tough. I'm going to start text. I'm going to bench phone call. And I'm going to cut FaceTime. Like, I like all of them. I use all of them. But if I'm going off of base what I use more, I'm going to say text. I probably text more. Phone call, definitely. And then FaceTime. Because I'm not FaceTiming each and every day. Like, if it's not my woman or if it's not somebody of importance like my brothers and stuff like that, I don't really be on FaceTime. But text and phone calls, I usually be on. So I would say start, text, bench, phone call, and cut FaceTime. All right. Last one for the start, bench, cut. Start, bench, cut. Air Force Ones, Air Maxes, Jordans. Okay. like as I get older, it's a tougher question. But I'm gonna start Jordans. Like I gotta start Jordans. That's just my childhood. I always loved Jordans, retro Jordans. Like there's nothing better than Jordans to me. But a close second for me is Air Forces. Air Forces go with anything. All white G Faisons, and I like any type of Air Forces. And Air Maxes, and it's tough because these are like my 3 favorite shoes. Like by far, my 3 favorite shoes are Air Maxes, Jordans, and Air Forces. So I'm gonna start Jordans, I'm gonna bench Air Forces, and I'm gonna cut Air Maxes, and that's a tough one, man. Cause my favorite Air Maxes, the infrared Air Maxes. I got a good amount of Air Maxes, like retro Air Maxes too. So that's a tough one. Jordans, like, come on, I just can't. I can't go against the grain with Jordans. Like, I really can't. And I don't even wear them as much anymore. I have Jordans, but I don't wear them as much anymore. I'm more so like a Air Force, Air Max, Vans type of dress. But I still will put Jordans up there at the top of the top. So start Jordan, bench Air Forces, and cut Air Max. All right, that was tough. All right, and I just spoke on the iPhone talking about FaceTime. All right, and I'm gonna see. All right now with all the listeners, what type of phone you got. All right, within this conversation, would you rather have a iPhone, all right, or an Android? Would you rather have an iPhone or an Android? Okay. I'm going to say iPhone. Of course, I have an iPhone. But with Androids, like, it was a point in time where I didn't want to transition to an iPhone because I had a love for Androids. Reason why I say that, because with Androids, with, like, the storage, I could get any app in the world. And, like, I feel like Android's cameras are kind of better. They become better. But I still just, the iPhone, like, ain't nothing like the blue text. I don't know what Apple did to make the green text just look so unappealing. Like, it just looked nasty. Like, I don't even like seeing the green text message. Like, that's an instant Joan or you text message. But I do feel like Androids are very good phones. It just, the green text is just like, And with iPhones, like, iPhones is just limitless, like, of how it operates. Like, from FaceTime to phone calls, what you can do on the iPhone. Like, and I'm one of those ones who I've had Apple for a long time now. Like, first, the iPod was 101. So it's kind of like, to see where Apple has come from and to what it is now is very dope. And look, I have a Mac in front of me right now. So there's no way I can't pick iPhone. But I do feel like, the Android is very slept on. I feel like it's slept on. I just feel like when it comes to iPhones, just the green message is just, it's not appealing. It's not appealing, guys. And a lot of my friends are gonna laugh at this because we got a couple friends that got the Android, and it just be like, bro, we trying to have a group text messages, and then it's just like when it pop up green, it's just like, bro. And then sometimes if you have an Android, right, and like say for an iPhone, you say if you have friends or you put somebody in the group message, all the messages turn green, and they might like send separately. It just be nasty work. It's nasty work. Nasty work. So I would say iPhone for sure. iPhone for sure. But I will say that Android has gotten better camera quality, I think. I've seen a lot of great camera quality out of the Androids. I will say that. And just as far as like apps, like in storage, I feel like it's better with the Android as well too. Because every time you turn around with Apple or the iPhone, you ain't got no storage. Like, and even when you buy the high storage gigabytes, you still don't have enough storage. So I would definitely say that I get an edge for that with Android. So you let me know, would you rather iPhone or Android? All right. Another amazing episode of the Faison View podcast, man. Make sure you guys tune in. I'll have my brother here, Hugh, with me next week. You already know, new location, as you can see. Alright, as you can see, man, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Faison View Podcast Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you tune in, guys. Much love.